vị, ngày mai có một cuốn phim tài liệu với tựa đề A Faster Horse của đạo diễn Blvd chính thức sẽ được trình chiếu tại vùng Bắc Mỹ. Thưa quý vị, đây là cuốn phim mà sau thành công tại Đại hội điện ảnh Tribeca New York năm 2015, thì phim tài liệu A Faster Horse sẽ được tung ra độc quyền trên Internet qua Vimeo On Demand bắt đầu từ ngày 9 tháng 10. Đạo diễn Blvd được biết đến qua phim tài liệu rất là nổi tiếng Jewel Dreams of Sushi mấy năm trước, thì anh lại nhắm vào một chủ đề được nhiều người yêu chuộng bấy lâu nay. Đó là chiếc xe Mustang, một sản phẩm xe hơi nổi tiếng của hãng Ford. Nhân dịp 50 năm ra đời của chiếc Mustang và cũng đánh dấu một thời kỷ nguyên kỹ nghệ xe hơi Hoa Kỳ vừa thoát khỏi thời kỳ đại khủng hoảng, hãng Ford tung ra một loại xe Mustang đời thứ 5 kể từ lần đầu nó được tung ra hồi năm 1964. Sau đây là cuộc phỏng vấn đặc biệt của Diana Nguyễn với đạo diễn Blvd.
There's a lot that can go wrong from here.
Growing up in an era where everybody had a horse, Henry Ford would say to the people, "What do you want?" And they'd always say, "A faster horse."
Hi, I'm Diana Nguyễn, and we have here David Gallup. He's our director of A Fast Horse. Okay, with the documentary, I know with the 50th anniversary of Ford, you came out with this awesome film pertaining to the Ford Mustang itself. Can you tell me how you got involved in it?
I first heard about the project from Glenn Zipper and Nigel Sinclair, two documentary producers that I have a lot of respect for. They had won an Oscar for their film Undefeated, which is a very excellent documentary about a high school football team in Texas. And they came to me and they told me that Ford wanted to make a film for the 50th anniversary of the Mustang, but we could make it whatever we wanted it to be. So I thought, that's very interesting. My dad used to drive me around in a Mustang. I grew up in New York, so I didn't grow up with a car. But when my dad would come to LA and he would bring me sometimes, he would always rent a Mustang GT convertible. And he would always make a point about telling me that it was the GT version, so it was faster. And so I thought, wow, that's kind of cool. You know, I have this emotional connection with Mustang, and other people did too. People were telling me about their Mustang stories, and I realized, it's very interesting that people have this incredible emotional connection with this car.
They certainly do.
And then we found that there's this story about, the guys building the new 2015 version of the car. It's the 50th anniversary version of the car, and they're under a lot of pressure because they have to make something that is, respectful of the legend and legacy of the Mustang, but that also takes the car into the future.
Dave, the chief of engineer, you can see that he had a lot of pressure, but you're able to capture all these, events that's taking place from, one, it showed that when the plant shut down. He's so composed. How do you feel like working with him? His personality, I did read up about him. He has a great leadership skill.
Oh yeah, no, he's terrific, and I learned a lot from working with him because, although the Mustang is such a huge project, our film is much smaller, but there are a lot of people working on it. We're telling, an archival story. We have a lot of researchers. We have our crew and everything. And so I was watching Dave and the way that he leads his team, and we try to apply the same kind of lessons that we're learning to our own team. And something that Dave does that's really special is he really trusts his team members. He puts the right person in the right job and then trusts them and allows them to kind of reach for the greatest heights that they can reach, knowing that he'll be there to pick up the pieces if they fail. And if people are able to work without a fear of failure, without a fear of being blamed, they're able to do absolutely incredible things. And that's what we tried to do when we were making this film too. So it was really a team effort, and with an incredible amount of talent in all the crew members behind the camera.
Yeah. You were able to captivate that. It's just the cinematography that you were able to capture, from the make of them making a model to the aspect of capturing the emotions. You were in depth in that, and so I love watching. Sometimes it's just documentaries. It's about a certain, aspect of the project, and you were able to capture that. Was there any challenges that you had trying to?
Absolutely. I mean, the biggest challenge was, the Mustang is so big. The story spans over 50 years. There are so many people who have been integral to the making of this car over that period. Where do I start? Where do you get into the story? And so that was the biggest challenge, was kind of figuring out who is our main character, what is this movie about? And Dave was really the solution to that, I think, in telling the story of Dave and his team members, you know, under pressure, very creative. You want them to succeed, but it's not easy. And the Mustang is a particularly difficult car to make because not only do you have all these fans that know exactly how they want the Mustang to be, it's sort of like, I imagine, you know, if you're building a new Mustang, it's like making a new Star Wars movie. You know, it's like everybody knows what they want it to be. There's so much pressure. And at the same time, he has to build this car that does everything, but that also is affordable, because the thing that made the Mustang so such a huge kind of cultural event at the beginning was because it was a beautiful car that people could actually afford. In 1964, this car came out, it was like $2,300. And the Camaro was, the Corvette was like twice that. And this was a car you could actually afford, and it looked beautiful, and it just exploded because of that.
You did a phenomenal job.
Oh, thank you.
So you guys come out there, visit their website, and check David out. He is a very talented director.
Thank you so much, appreciate that.